Hello, travel biz owner. Welcome to my corner of the travel industry, the Strategic Travel Entrepreneur Podcast. If you're ready to have fun, be inspired, get clarity, and take action in your travel business, then you're in the right place. Let's jump in. Hello, friends. We're about to go on a journey. So this episode was actually inspired by a travel advisor that I recently had a coaching call with, who had pretty much asked, how do I sell myself without being too pushy, without being salesy, especially when I'm meeting new people. And I feel like this is a really popular question. I feel like this is probably something that I had also come up with. So I'm going to share some of my favorite insights and tips to kind of really prepare you. Some of this is going to be a little bit meta because I am doing my first industry event actually tomorrow. If you're listening to this on Friday, May 15, I am doing my first industry trade show. So I'm going to have a little table up at a travel agent event and going to be having hopefully really great discussions with you and getting to know some of you. So that is happening in Orlando, Florida. Tickets are already sold out, so if you're not already booked at the event, don't visit the event because I don't want an influx of people. I mean, I don't know how many of you are local to me, but unfortunately it's sold out. But whenever anything else happens, I will keep you posted because I'm also thinking about putting together some in-person events. Aside from Summer Camp at Sea, which you guys have heard of a little bit about before, which is happening next June. This June, I was trying to do a marketing day and it's just not working out. There have been a lot of other projects in my viewpoint. So I'm going to see what else I can do for either later this summer and even end of the year. There's a couple of ideas that I have for maybe October, November, and then also possibly December that are learning opportunities as well as get the stuff done opportunities. So stay tuned. And if you have any ideas, please feel free to shoot them my way because I'm open to suggestions. I also wanted to give a huge shout out to everybody who's in the cruise content library and who joined me to the focus group this week. It's the first ever focus group that I've run for the cruise content library. So I received a lot of really great feedback both on things that I need to work on, how I can make some improvements, and then also things that are going really, really well, which, spoiler alert, if you didn't see on Instagram, there's now over 3,000 B-roll clips inside the cruise content library and more counting because I still have to add some more Western and Eastern Caribbean clips. And then I have some more river cruise clips to add. And who knows what other surprises might happen that I'll be adding later this year and next year as well. So definitely stay tuned. But let's get into the meat. Oh, wait, before we get into the meat of this episode, I also have to let you know, Host Agency Reviews, who I do some work with, many of you know, has their annual travel advisor survey out right now. So highly recommend that you go ahead and take that survey. You do have some time, but don't delay. If you get started, set aside, 10, 15, 20 minutes. I'm not sure how long it takes. It is a very thorough survey. The benefit of you taking the survey is that if you submit and you enter your own data, you will get a copy of the survey complimentary. So if you want to see all the details and the stats of what's happening with your peers and where the industry is going, complimentary, then definitely take the survey. It is currently open through June 30th, but you never know. If they get enough stats, they might just close it up a little bit early. So make sure to have your voice counted because this helps the industry as a whole create better resources to help you build a better travel business and a better travel agency. So make sure that your voices, it doesn't cost anything. Except for your time, which is definitely something. So I know May is it's a hugely crazy month for me this year. It may be a very crazy month with you because I know some of you have graduations. I know it's a big end of school, graduation. There's a lot of events that are happening, so you may have to wait for June in order to fill that out, but please do. All right, now let's get on with the show. So I actually created my outline for today's show with Claude because I have a lot to say about this topic, this how to sell without being salesy, but I wasn't exactly sure how to structure it. So I pretty much have been voice noting for the past half hour before recording this, maybe like an hour now, with Claude just to get out all my thoughts. And it kind of put it in a nice organized fashion, or at least like I hope in a very organized fashion. So we're going to touch on what sales really is, then navigating networking events. We're going to touch a little bit on coffee chats, but I'm not going to do like a full breakdown because I've already done that on a previous episode. Then we're going to talk about like when you actually do need to make your move because of the selling. You do need to be selling. We're going to talk a little about follow-up. We've also got like some tools that I'm going to be sharing inside of here. So yeah, I feel like it's a pretty hefty, but maybe it'll go fast. We'll see. I'm aiming for 30 minutes that we're going to buckle in and be BFFs by the end of this if we're not already. So let's dig in. So what really is sales? Like if you were going to ask me, what is sales, Rita? My answer is someone needs something and they need you to sell it to them. It's really what it is. I cut my knee. I didn't really cut my knee, but let's say I just cut my knee. I need a Band-Aid. I don't have a Band-Aid at home. So I need to go somewhere to buy that Band-Aid so that I'm not bleeding all over the floor. That is a problem that I have that needs to be solved, and the way that it's solved is by purchasing a Band-Aid. So that is the simplest form. Like somebody needs to go on a trip. They need you to do that for them because you are the person. Now, saying that, I also don't want you to think like you are supposed to book every type of trip because you're not supposed to. Not every person is supposed to be your client, especially people that you know and love very well. They'll probably make some of the worst types of clients. But at the most basic, like if we're talking about sales, especially being a travel advisor, somebody needs to travel and they need you to plan it for them because one, they might not know how to do it themselves. Two, they tried to do it and there's way too many options. Three, they're like, I'm not going to handle that with a 10-foot pole. I'm just going to hire somebody else. Because if you think of like those type of buyer mentalities, we've all been those buyer mentalities. Like there's certain things we would much rather DIY ourselves because we know how to do it. It's much easier for us to do it. There's certain things that we tried to DIY ourselves and it didn't go very well. So we just ended up hiring the person instead. And then there's also times where you and I are going to be like, yeah, I'm not even going to try that. I'm just going to hire. That third type of person is more the person that ideally you would want to work with because they very much, hold hiring somebody else to a high regard. They hold their time very precious. They hold their brain space very precious. Those are the harder ones to find, which is why I have a couple of other episodes that I talk about like finding your ideal clients. So this necessarily isn't an episode about that. I have episodes like that. And I feel like the latest ones are going to be like episode 226 and 235. We're going to go more in like, how do you navigate the sales conversation? Because you know, sales is very important to do. So it's like navigating networking a little bit and then also navigating like, when do you do the hard pitch? When do you do a softer pitch? I feel like when I'm talking about sales too, because I know the biggest concern is like, you don't want to feel like salesy or you don't want to feel gross or anything. And that comes from like if you're meeting somebody and you're immediately word vomiting on them, like all the things that you can do in your travel agency, especially if this is your first time. Because again, I always love using the dating analogy. It's like I would not go to a dating roundtable place, like a place to meet other people and be like, you are amazing. Can I date you? Because the person on the other side of that is going to be like, what is wrong with you? Like, I don't even know who you are. I don't know what you like. You kind of are a little bit weird. So I don't even know if we get along. Those are the things that like people are also thinking if you're spitting out to them too soon. I'm a travel agent and I can book your trip. Well, I just met you. I don't even know if you can handle the trip that I need to be planned. And I don't even know like what your credentials are. And I don't know this or that. But like I have no idea about you. So there's a little bit of a reframe that has to come here too when it comes to networking, because I want you to think like, one of the biggest words that you're probably going to hear me say a lot is you need to come out of it with curiosity, because I think the ickiness from selling comes when you're desperate for it. And also comes like if you've been taught like bad, icky sales skills, but really you need to go into networking events or events where you're meeting other people that like networking just happens to happen, even if it's not a formal networking event. You need to come out of it or into it out of curiosity, not thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm going to make a sale today, but oh my gosh, I'm going to meet so many cool people today. Like, who am I going to meet? What opportunities are going to happen? Because the opportunities might not even happen like right then and there. So again, like going in with curiosity. But if you go in and you meet somebody at an event and be like, hey, my name is Rita, this is what I do, what do you do? They answer, and then hopefully you have like a really good back and forth dialogue about what each of you do. Hopefully you find some common ground, like maybe you're both astrology nerds, so then you nerd out on all the astrology things. But that's what I really want you to approach this from. That one, you're very curious when you're going into some sort of networking opportunity to meet people. This is not a sales opportunity per se. Now, there are different events that might be more sales pitch focused, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But especially when you're meeting somebody for the first time, I don't even want you to think about the sale. I want you to think about coming out of an event with a new friend or somebody that you can nerd about, like a hobby that you really like. So shifting the question overall from how can I turn this into a sale, from how can I get to know this person a little bit better? Because again, there's going to be multiple uses for different events, networking events, or just events where you can meet people at. Sometimes it's just you're going to meet really great referral partners, and you need those because you also need to be a really great referral partner. You cannot be just the travel person not knowing anybody else. If somebody comes to you and you're at a networking event and is asking for you like, man, I really need to redo my copy or my website, or man, like my toilet has been acting up, or whatever it might be, and you're like, oh, I'm so sorry about that. Okay, you've got some empathy, but if you can be like, oh my gosh, this person just did my website copy and it was amazing. Or, oh my gosh, I just met a really great plumber at this other event here. Here's the contact information. Having like contacts in your arsenal is going to make you so much more powerful when you're at these networking events and meeting other people, because then this is kind of like more emphasizing that it's more than just the sale. This is about your network, your collaboration. Like, we're all in business by ourselves, but we don't have to be by ourselves. Like, there's so many people that we can meet that this sounds bad, but that can do things for us. But you're not going in the mentality that you're going to be meeting people that can do things for you. I want you to go into the mentality like, oh my gosh, like who can I connect these people with? Who can like give them a sale of their like, because if small business owners have other small business owners back, and if especially you are meeting other business owners, you want to make sure that you have that other person's back. I hope you're catching what I'm selling here. So it's one, you're going into an event just seeing like, are these people your vibe? Maybe they're not your vibe. Maybe you have to go to a different networking event. And then also, if they are your vibe, like, how do you just get to know them a little bit better? So when you're going into these networking and salesy types of situations, you also need to reframe that you're not going in as a salesperson. You're going in as a travel matchmaker. Because especially if you're thinking about matchmaker, and that makes me think of like matchmaker, make me a match, catch me a catch, find me a match. I don't know the rest of the words. But if you were going to a matchmaker yourself because you're dating, and I know many of you are not dating, but let's just think of it. The matchmaker is not going to be like, you need to date Karina, Bobby, because Karina is amazing for all these ways. Bobby's going to be there like, what do you, I don't even know who Karina is. The same thing is about you when you're going to these networking events and meeting other people. You don't know anything about these people. So you can be selling your travel services as a hard sale if you want to. But what if these people are like budget people? You've just wasted your time like doing a pitch, a useless pitch to somebody who doesn't even care. So really getting into this mind frame, we're going into things, we're going to be curious about other people. We want to help other people out. We want to help other people build their businesses as well, because it's going to come back to us as well. And I am a travel matchmaker. The relationship ultimately has to come before the sale every single time. So how do you navigate some of these networking events? And again, I've talked a lot about this before in a couple episodes. So there's a marketing audit that I've done with a travel advisor. That's episode 103 if you want to go listen to that one. There's the lead generation series, episodes 143 through 147, about finding leads in different niches and then the next steps to finding your next travel agency leads. And then episode 226 and 235, wow, 335, going right ahead there, where to find some of your ideal clients. So we're not going to talk too much about like where to find these clients, but what can you do to prepare to go into a situation where you're meeting somebody else? Like if you're going to meet somebody at a chamber event, a BNI event, maybe a trade show event, maybe you're going to a conference, like what are some of the things that you need to do? So you definitely need to be working. I'm getting burnt out with the term elevator pitch. So I'm kind of reframing elevator pitch to quick intro. I love it when people say like you need an elevator pitch, because what if you're in an elevator and then you need to pitch somebody? And I'm like, if I'm in an elevator, I'm not looking at anybody. I'm not talking to anybody. I just want to go back to my room or whatever destination that I'm going to. So elevator pitch does not work for me. But a quick intro really is describing like you got to let them know what your name is, what you do, who you do it for. Those are like the three most important things when it comes to doing a really quick intro. Keeping it very short, keeping it clear, and also being very confident. Because you don't want to say, hi, my name is Rita, and I'm the host of the Strategic Travel Entrepreneur podcast. I'm going to go in it being like, hi, my name is Rita, and I'm the host of the Strategic Travel Entrepreneur podcast. I help travel advisors become better business owners. Boom, bada bing, the end. Let's let it open up to somebody else at the end. Like you can add something like, and what do you get to do to open up the conversation? So I have 5 examples to really help you out here too, because I didn't want to be like, you need to create this. So you can kind of figure out based on some of these examples. So I have a honeymoon specialist, a family travel specialist, a gluten-free travel specialist, an expedition cruise specialist, and a theme park specialist. So hopefully you get some ideas. If you're not one of those, you at least get some ideas of how you can introduce yourself. So if you're a honeymoon specialist, this might be an example for your quick intro. Hi, I'm Rebecca. I help newly engaged and newlywed couples plan the honeymoon of their dreams so they can actually enjoy it instead of stress over the details. Boom, boom, boom. If I was planning my honeymoon, I'd be like, wait, I don't have to stress over the details. Like, that's an instant, like, an ear twist, an ear jerker for me. Like, wait, I thought this is what everybody does, was stress out about their honeymoon, and now you just, like, change their viewpoint. I feel like that would also help open up some conversations. Here's your little intro for the family travel specialist. Hi, I'm Bradley. I plan seamless family vacations for busy parents who want everyone to have an amazing time, including them. I love that including them part, because if you are talking to a parent, of course the parents want to have a great time. They also want to have a great time on vacation too. But I know many parents probably feel left out in the process because they're so focused on the kids having a great time. So you including them in that, feels so good. All right, if you're a gluten-free travel specialist. Hi, my name is Barbara. I specialize in travel for people with gluten sensitivities and celiac disease so they can explore the world without worrying about what they eat, which is a huge thing as somebody who is a gluten-free travel person, somebody that has to travel gluten-free. Like, I'm already thinking about all the snacks and things that I need to pack on my next trip to make sure that I have things to eat. So love that one as well. Expedition cruise specialist. Hi, my name is Tony. I plan expedition and adventure cruises for travelers who want to go somewhere truly off the beaten path. I feel like we could probably tweak that a little bit to make it just a little bit stronger, because off the beaten path is I feel like is a little bit abused, overly abused. Well, I was going to make a joke on our current situation, the current news headlines, but I was like, oh, maybe that's not the right time and place. So I'm not going to say nothing about expedition cruises. So let's go on to our last specialist, a theme park specialist. Hi, my name is Becky. I help families get the absolute most out of their theme park vacations. No wasted time and no wasted money, which I'm sure is a big thing because theme park vacations are expensive, if you didn't know. And so being able to maximize your time and being able to maximize your investment is super duper important. You might be one of these and be like, actually, my secret sauce isn't one of those things. It's this thing. Then I want you to lead with that. If it's something different than something that I've mentioned here, whatever is the thing that brings you over the edge, the thing that makes you different. Like, when you think of other theme park specialists, what about your unique viewpoint makes your planning process different and makes it stand out amongst everybody else? Same thing. I know there's many honeymoon specialists. What about your unique viewpoint and your personal experience makes you stand out from every other honeymoon specialist that's out there? Especially in the age of specificity, which we are definitely in, the more specific that you can get, calling out your exact person, the more it's going to call them in. It's going to be like, wait a second, how do they know that this is what I deal with on a daily basis? Or this is what I've been dealing with as I've been planning this trip? That is going to be help people more apt to want to get to know you and then also want to work with you. So now that we have a couple of quick intros outlined, getting started with that curiosity conversation, because I know if you're an extrovert, you probably don't have any problem having conversations with people. If you're an introvert like myself, it is a little bit harder. But again, just leading with curiosity, remembering that if this is your first time, even second time meeting people, like, especially if you are at a networking event or an event where other people are at, this is not a hard sales pitch arena. So you are not making any sort of hard sales pitch here. Unless somebody directly asks you, like, I want to work with you, how can we work together? Then you're going to make the sales pitch there. That is very unlikely the first time you're meeting people or the first time you're going to different networking events or events where other people are at. So if you've been nervous about, like, what are you supposed to say, hopefully that, like, your shoulders have eased a little bit, because you can be like all a little bit loosey-goosey, because I don't want you to go in thinking that you have to make a sales pitch. You are making friends. And how do you make friends? You ask questions. You figure out what you guys can bond over. Some people are not going to be great people to be friends with, and you're going to hopefully find that out quickly because they're not going to ask you any questions. They're really only going to talk about themselves. Like, that's one of my biggest red flags. Like, when I go into conversations with people, if you're not curious about what I do, if you can't even fake being curious about what I do and who I am, or like help me find common ground, I'm not going to take that relationship past this one instance that I've met you. So going and thinking the same way, like, you also want to be a good conversationalist. And the only way that you can do it is by putting yourself into these situations and getting better at talking with other, specifically business people, but it could also be not business people. So go in wanting to make friends, not necessarily making the sale, because you're probably not going to make a sale there. This is not a sales event. If you go in with desperation, like if you go in thinking like, oh my gosh, if I don't meet somebody who is going to book a river cruise by the end of this, like I am going to be SO. Like, you are putting so much more pressure if like this one event is going to make or break your business. Do not go in with that. That is the, I have another episode on this. It's called, like, I don't know if you've heard dating NATO, not attached to the outcome. I need you to think similarly, and I did have an episode, so I'm trying to see where I can find that episode number, because you need to be not attached to the outcome to this episode. To this networking event. Like, you can't put all your beans hoping that this one networking event is going to change the trajectory of your business. That is the wrong mindset. You're going to have the wrong types of conversations. That's episode 191, From Paralyzed to Fearless, How the NATO Approach Transforms Your Travel Business Mindset. So definitely, if you have gone in thinking and feeling like this one thing has to help me out, or if it doesn't, like I'm a failure, you might want to listen to that episode to help you out. Going in with a genuine curiosity just helps make it a lot more fun. Like, if you just go in thinking like, I'm here to make friends with other people, how much lighter does that feel? How much easier does that feel? And that's like, well, whatever happens, happens. Like, I could make a friend, but at least I got out here. Because I also want you to think about that. Oh, there's multiple different types of wins. And if you haven't gone to any networking events at all, and this is your first time going, I would say the biggest win is that you got your butt out of the car and you attended the event. If this is a virtual networking, the biggest thing is that like you got over the excuses and you hit on that Zoom link and you attended there and your camera is on so people can see you. Make like these little wins for the different event. Like, it would be such a great win if I met like a really great joint venture partner at this event, like a potential joint venture partner. It would be really great if I could meet other business owners who nerd out about the eclipses. Like, whatever it is, like maybe making that your goal instead of thinking about it with sales in mind. Some questions to kind of like get the conversations going also after you've started with your quick intro is like really being curious about them. What is it that you do? Who do you work with? How long have you been in business, or how long have you been doing this type of work? Is this your first networking event like this? That's a really great bonding moment, because if it's not, or if it is, like, you're going to have a really great like moment just to commiserate over what the answers might be that you each are sharing. I feel like maybe even like once you've gotten to break the ice a little bit, what's a wild client story that you've had recently? Because I feel like the possibilities might be endless. Like, once you get into the groove of the conversation, it does become a little bit easier, and the natural follow-up questions will come up. If that conversation doesn't click, like I mentioned, maybe just figuring out how to like wrap that up in a nice button. Well, it was so nice to meet you. I'm going to see who else I can meet here today. And like moving on to the next person, just being like really polite about it, because you also don't want to be a poopy head when you're at these events. Again, like wins can mean different things. So putting the value more in that, like, are you there for referral partners? Being the connector, being the giver. Like at first, when I was doing networking, because I had come like from such a corporate background that needed so much of me, it was weird when people were asking, how can I help you? How can I help your business? Can I connect you with anyone? Because once you do more networking, you're going to find out more people do want to help you and want you to have a successful business. So that's a question that comes up. And it was so weird for me because I wasn't used to that. I wasn't like used to people wanting to help me in that kind of manner, in that kind of regard. So also add that to kind of your list of questions, like, how can I help you? Like, who are you trying to meet? Maybe I know somebody in my network that I can connect you with, because being that connector, being that giver, it is such a rewarding, like, I feel like that's what I put to higher regard than even like what I'm going to get out of some events sometimes, which I know sometimes is not the best, but like I there's just such a joy when I can like put somebody else on a pedestal. Maybe that's like my introvertedness and not wanting to be on the pedestal, but I love just being able to connect good people with other good people and seeing like what magic that they can create in their businesses as well. And also going into it knowing that, being curious, you just never know what kinds of relationships are going to happen and like going to come about it. Because maybe you're going into a networking type of situation and there's a media person who has been looking to talk to somebody who's in the travel industry for a certain like story that they have to write. You just never know what's going to happen. Because again, like it might not happen at that one event, but it might happen down the road. So this is also what can happen if you take sales kind of out of the equation and just focus on like being friends, being a connector, and building relationships. If you are finding that there's a lot of synergy, then you've got to take it forward. You can't just be like, well, it was nice to meet you. Bye. Definitely swap contact info. If that's business cards, if that's connecting on LinkedIn, or like maybe you're connecting on Instagram, you've got to swap contact info sometimes. Depending on what the situation is, like what the conversation has been, other follow-up steps can be like, I'll see you at the next event, or I love to grab coffee, see if we have some synergy. That can even be like virtual coffee, or just asking them just to connect on another social platform to keep that relationship going. Because it's not that like you're you have to let it grow naturally. Like you can't force it. And being able to stay in somebody's world, especially if they are active on social media, helps you stay attuned to like what's going on in their world. What are they experiencing? Maybe they're not able to attend any other networking events this month, so this was the one thing. So this is how you stay in touch with them. Also, reading the room. Not every situation calls for scheduling a call, and it might just call for that, like, hey, let's just connect on LinkedIn or follow up on social media. And making sure that, like, even after you follow up, if you met somebody for the first time, if you're really excited about what this potential relationship could be, a referral, maybe a client down the line, maybe a joint venture partnership, maybe they just know a lot of people, and so you can ask them that you need whatever in the coming up future, being able to stay connected with them. So even following up if you do have their contact information, and this has happened like on social media, not necessarily a formal email, but sending something afterwards, being like, it was so nice to meet you, I hope I'll see you at the next one, or something to that effect, because you don't want to let that relationship die. Sometimes this does result in having a coffee chat, which I'm not going to like get into the specifics of coffee chats because I do have episode 86, which really talks a lot about the 411 of coffee chats. So listen to that one. But a coffee chat is still not a sales call. It's the most important thing that I want you to know about here. That is really just like you've gotten to know somebody. Maybe it was just briefly and you want to get to know them a little bit more on a one-on-one setting. Then we go on to like, well, now it's time. Now it's your time. There is going to be some time between like you've initially met somebody to some sort of sales event is going to happen. when that happens, that is your time for the hard sale. And so a sales event, like the two things that I think of is somebody's on a discovery call with you. They've booked a discovery call because they know you. They've gotten to know a little bit about your services. They have a trip coming up. They're interested in working with you. You're allowed to make a hard sale on that because somebody signed up for that. So don't be afraid of making the hard sale there. It's very different than going to a networking event. Similarly, like if you're hosting a webinar or a cruise night or doing a group trip presentation, that is also a place that you're allowed to make a hard sale because people know exactly what they're going into. You have told them that you have this trip coming up, or you've mentioned, like they already know who you are, a little bit about what they do. They wouldn't have signed up for your webinar without that. So you're allowed to make hard sales here because people know that like that's what's happening. They signed up for it. So if somebody has booked a discovery call with you, like you know that they're already interested. They just want a little bit of reassurance that you're the right person, that you can handle the type of trip. So your job on this call really is to fact find on what their specific needs are and what their questions are about the trip. Now, I'm like throwing up resources at you. On Prep for Wave Week, Whitney Schindler of the Hive and Masters in Travel had a really great session about asking questions. So I highly recommend that you go there. I'll try and link that up in here, but there's a lot of things I gotta link up already. So you're fact finding, you're asking questions. Again, you are being very curious, getting as many details about this trip as possible, because that's going to make your life a lot better when you go to plan out the trip for your client. So I would say like the first 2/3 of this call is going to be a lot about that, like being curious about the trip. The last third of the call, this is what I would call is your time. This is where like you're outlining your process if you already haven't talked about that. And you're closing with something like, I would love to work with you. I'll go ahead, send you the contract and the agreement. You can check over the invoice. Let me know if you want to proceed with this trip. And here is a timeline of like what to expect next. Here are the next steps and all that. So being very confident in that. So that's discovery call, kind of like that is part of what your sales pitch is really. Then if you're kind of like doing a webinar or a cruise night, some sort of presentation, again, people know what they're signing up for. So you're going to most likely be outlining what type of trip this is, what they can see, what they can experience, what are some of the inclusions. And on that last slide or last couple of slides is where you're saying like, I'd love for you to join me. Here's the details. Here might be the pricing. Here's the link to secure your spot. I would love to see you there. Opening it up for Q&A. So this, like, it's not hard to put out there, but it can be a little bit daunting. But again, the more that you practice it, the easier that it does get to make the hard sell. I feel like there's not really like too much to overthink. I think it's more like, oh my gosh, but I'm selling. They want you to sell because they signed up for the thing. They already know that you are going to be selling. In a sense, it is kind of like car salesman. Like when you were going, like the only reason mostly that you're going to a car dealership is because you need to buy a new car. Except instead of getting to know you and your needs, the sleazy car salesman is going to be like, well, I have this really new model over here. It's got blah, 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 blah. They're going to be telling you all these things. They don't care what it is that you want or you need. They're not looking to get to know you. You are not going to do that. You are going to do the opposite because you've heard my whole spiel this entire episode about getting to know people, leading with curiosity, and building relationships. So the most important part that I would say of this hard sell at the end of like a discovery call or a webinar is being confident in that close. You've got this, like assuming that that people are already going to book, that these people are going to be sending you the agreement later. Like you need to be confident. Even if you're not confident, then you've got to fake being confident. But you need to like sound like you have got this in the bag. I feel like that's also like just general good juju to have, to make sure that you can close the sale at the end. Now, Again, not everybody is going to become a sale. Not everybody is going to become a sale immediately. Like, some people need some time, a little bit, to marinate and think on some things. Normally not that much time. But I need you to remember that one of the most important parts of like selling is also the follow-up. We talked about that in the networking sense a little bit earlier. Now you've got to follow up, especially for people who have been at your sales pitch and had the hard sell to them. So if somebody hasn't converted into being a sale, you need to follow up. Some cadence that I kind of would suggest is like following up 2 or 3 times. And then if they're not getting back with you, if they are not responding, like not even replying, then at that 3rd or 4th touch point, kind of close the loop, because closing the loop will do one of 2 things. Either they're like, oh, no, I really want that trip. Let's go. Or like you don't hear from them, which is nothing new because you haven't heard of them because you've been having to do so many follow-ups. Following up is not a nuisance because people get busy. How many times, like, let's do a self-reflection here. How many times has somebody followed up with you because you haven't followed up with them? And being a service provider, you not being the travel agent, you're trying to hire somebody and then you don't follow up with them. Life happens to us all. We're all really busy, whether that's with personal life stuff or professional life stuff. So that follow-up is so important, because a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, I've seen like all of your emails and this keeps popping. Like, that happened to me recently. I was scheduling calls with somebody. Like, it wasn't any sort of sales situation, but I'm like, okay, here's my last ditch effort. Here's the questions that I need answered, please. And then they finally answered and emailed me back with the answers. And so, like, I feel more often than not, when you are following up and when you do close the loop because you haven't heard anything from them, it is going to get them closer to a sale. You are also going to find like that's not going to be the case always, and you just never hear from the person, they ghost you and whatever. And that's something that just happens in this business, in any sort of like sales situation. So again, like, I don't want you to be nervous about following up, because you're doing people a service. Like, I have fallen through the cracks on my own follow-up. So when people follow up with me, I am very, very grateful. And actually that just recently happened. Like, somebody kept following up with me because I was just so busy with other emails and other projects that I couldn't answer. So on the kind of like the last effort, I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for following up with me. You just never know. So some like messaging that I would put on that, like, I can tell the timing probably has changed or something isn't feeling right about this trip. Don't worry about it. I'm going to go ahead and close out the invoice and agreement that we've spoken about. Whenever you're ready to plan this trip in the future, I cannot wait to help you out with this. And like, you're closing this current conversation loop for your peace of mind, because I would hate for you to like keep following up. And again, like, using certain trips that you're relying on for this income, where you could be using your efforts to follow up with somebody else who's a little bit warmer, or going to other events to meet new people who might be fresh leads for you and all that. So you don't want to ruin the relationship. So being like very friendly on that closing, and then leaving it open that down the line when they might happen to be ready, or if circumstances change, that you're still willing to work with them and help them out. So, but hopefully when you do that, it does prompt like, okay, let's make this decision. Now, some tools to help you track some of your networking contacts, because we all go to lots of different events. We all meet different people. Like, one of my best tips is when you're at an event, going on the back of the business card or wherever you're able to like write a note. Like, we talked about astrology. They're interested in the Galapagos, or something that like might put this person to stand out, or this person owns a flower shop, maybe talk about tulip time cruises. So that's one of my biggest tips, is like, write your note right there, right then and there on the business card. There's other tools that can help you out. I actually created many years ago, not many years, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, something called the networking logbook that is available on Amazon. that you can like track all sorts of information from people. And this is good if you're doing in-person networking or virtual networking, because it asks a lot of questions about the person. Are they a cold, warm, hot lead, or hot networking partner, or something like that. So if you wanted something physical to keep track of people, you can use that networking logbook. There's technologies within our industry, like Lux Pages has the ability to like upload business cards, and then TA Trip Tracker. Somebody that I recently interviewed on the Travel Tech Audio Summit, they also are going to be adding like where you can add business card information into their technology. I wouldn't say this is where like you put like notes in your CRM, because I feel like your CRM is more like for active, like things that are ready to close right now, not necessarily networking contacts. Networking contacts, if you wanted to keep them tracked in a digital space, I feel like that's better for a project management tool like the Trellos, ClickUp, Asanas, or like you can be super simple and just track people in like a Google Sheet or an Excel spreadsheet to like see like, okay, I met this person here. This is what we talked about. Follow up in 3 months, or follow up whenever you feel is a good time for that. I would say, especially when you're going into some of these networking opportunities, sales is the side effect, not necessarily the goal, or at least not necessarily the short-term goal. It's a long-term goal, but the goal of you going to the events, first off, is that you get comfortable with going to the events and meeting people, even if it is in a virtual setting. The second is like you making like really great contacts and building your business relationships, because that is so, so important. Also, putting yourself out there truly does help build your confidence. And I feel like this helps like make you a better conversationalist. The more that you're able to talk with people and have conversations and chats with, the better that you do get at it. So being very excited to go to networking events, because you're meeting people. You don't know what's going to happen. It's kind of like, I'm thinking about like the Game of Life board. Like you're excited because you're starting the game board, but you don't know where you're going to end up. Like, are you going to end up in the mansion, or are you going to end up on the boat? Are you going to have kids, or maybe you don't have kids? Like whatever the outcome might be, like going in with that like childlike curiosity and being like really genuine about meeting other people. Like that is one of the most exciting things. And if a sale just happens to happen down the line, that's a very happy, wanted, needed side effect as well, because we are in the sales business after all. So I promise you, it does get easier, like the more times that you put yourself out there. I hope that you've been able to see like there is a time and a place for that hard sale. Most places you will not be making a hard sale at. You're going to be making a lighter sale at. So I'm looking at my notes, and I think I've kind of said everything that I wanted to say on this topic of not coming out as salesy when you are meeting people. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate. Hit that button, send Rita your thoughts, as I'd love to hear what you thought about this episode. I'm sorry this was a long one, but it was packed with information. So I hope that it was super duper helpful. I cannot wait to see you on the next one. Also note that I will be out of office this next week. So the week of the 17th, I'm out of office. I will be back in the office on May 26th. So if you have reached out to me and you haven't heard back from me, you probably got an away message from me. So I'm not going to be opening up my laptop at all. So just please be patient with me. It is my birthday week. And I will get to you as soon as I get back into the office on May 26th. All right. Have a wonderful Thanks for joining me on the podcast today. Remember to check out the show notes for all relevant links and resources from today's show. See you next time.